So I'm friends with a couple who are getting married very soon, and at the time this video comes out, they will already be married. And of course, I'm incredibly happy for them and excited for them, and there are many people around them who are also very happy and excited for them. But at the same time, it feels like while there are many people who are incredibly excited for them, I think there are a lot of people who are having trouble accepting the fact that they are getting married and that they will move on, and will move somewhere else, and will start a new life there. I know there's a lot of pressure on this couple to kind of stay and do exactly what they were doing before getting married, and it just seems like there's a lot of pressure on this couple to not grow and change. And honestly, I get it. I understand why people might be putting that pressure on them, right? Because they're great people. I love them both. And I look at the situation they're in, and I'm reminded of certain situations I was in, where I was at a job and people didn't want me to leave. Or I would be going to school and people didn't want me to leave. They wanted me to continue being in their lives, which is a great compliment. And it's a great thing. It's a great thing to have that and to have the love of those people. But I think every once in a while, you just need to be told that it's okay to move on with your life. And so that's what this video is. Everything comes and goes. As I talked about in my End of All Things video, there are different seasons of life. There are certain points where you're doing one thing and then other points where you're doing another thing. Sometimes you work this job and then you move on to this job. Sometimes you're in this relationship and then you move on to this relationship. Sometimes you're in a relationship and then you're single. Sometimes you go to school and then you drop out of school and then you work a job and then you go back to school. That was me. But I know firsthand that it can be really difficult to leave your situation. I know firsthand that no matter how much you might hate your current situation and want to get away from it, it might still be really hard to move on. I think it's especially really hard to move on if you don't know what's on the other side. You're familiar with what you know right now, and you're scared to move on maybe. But at the same time, for me, there's always been this worry in my head. You know, that saying that the grass is always greener on the other side. So I'm always scared that the thing I am anticipating, the thing I'm looking forward to, is actually not any better than my current situation. I'm scared that while I hate my current situation, if I move on to a new situation, it may not be any better than my current situation. So I think that in many of us, there's this fear that exists of moving on. It's really hard to let go of what you've known. It's really hard to let go of the people who you've loved and who have loved you for many years and to just move on to something else. But if there's one thing I've learned throughout all of this, if there's one thing I've learned throughout transitioning to different situations and different lives almost, I have learned that everything is transitory and you have to be okay with moving on. I've learned that it's okay to let go and to move on. It is okay and applaudable, I would say, to do what's best for you, no matter how much it may affect other people. And I think moving on can be a very bittersweet experience. But one thing that I've learned, and this is kind of hard to accept or imagine, but I've learned that if you stick around in the familiar situation, if you stick around in what you know and refuse to move on to the unfamiliar situation, then your current familiar situation will change and it will become unfamiliar inevitably. What I mean by that your familiar situation will become unfamiliar, is that nothing stays the same forever. If you're working a job and only sticking around because you like the people, then sooner or later the people will be gone. And then the day will come that you're just working the job and you look around and you realize you don't know anyone. Because what's happened is that even if you haven't moved on, other people chose to. I think everyone moves on, everything changes, whether or not people want it to or not. And so because of that, whenever people are trying to move on to a new situation, I don't like the idea of trying to hold them back. I don't like the idea of trying to guilt trip them into staying around. I don't like the idea of even mentioning staying around. And I try to avoid telling people this. I try to avoid telling people, oh, you should stick around here forever. Not because I hate them, but because of the opposite, because I love them. I think people have to do what's best for themselves. I think that if people really love you, then they will encourage you as you try to move forward in life. They won't try to hold you back or restrain you. If people genuinely care about you and you're trying to do something good, then they will support that. I've learned that by being okay with losing things and by accepting the fact that everything dies one day and every situation will inevitably change, I've learned that that is when you can truly be free. There's a song by Queens of the Stone Age, Emotion Sickness, that has the following lines. People come and go on the breeze. For a whole life? Possibly. And so I think these lyrics just acknowledge that fact, that things change. I think either life changes because you take the initiative to change your life and to try to make things better, even if you don't succeed, or it changes because you just stick around and life changes around you. It's the difference between acting and being acted upon. I've said this before on this channel, but there will be a day when I choose to do something else besides make YouTube videos. I can look at my life right now and recognize that there are many things, there are many priorities I have that didn't exist for me previously. And I know that one day this will happen again in the future, where in 10, 15, 20 years, I will look around at my life then and I will recognize that none of the things then were things that I had right now when I'm making this video. And things will be different, inevitably, but hopefully they will be better. And so the point of this video is to tell my friends and everyone really that it's okay to move on. You shouldn't pay attention to people who are maybe trying to hold you back or trying to get you to stay in your current situation. And I think that despite those things, life is hard. I think letting go is hard, but I think that clinging on to things is even harder. Because if you let go of things, then things go away, but you'll be free. But if you cling on to things too tightly, then the things will be taken away and it'll hurt a lot more. So that's kind of a downer note to end the video on, I think. But anyways, go, be free, live your life. That's what I'm trying to say. Go have fun, do what you always wanted to do. It's okay to move on. Don't feel bad if people are trying to hold you back, just ignore them. In the end, I think that doing what's best for you is also the same thing as doing what's best for other people. Not always, but I do think there's a lot of overlap. Sam, Casey, love you guys. Hope you have fun being married and moving on and having kids. Don't get divorced, I guess. That's my pro tip. I mean, hopefully you guys are married. Like I said, I'm filming this in advance. So if you're not married, then if something happens, then that would be bad. Hopefully you guys don't die in a plane crash or something, because I'm still gonna put this video out. Like, even if you're not married or even if you're dead, I'm still gonna put the video out. But the only difference is just that I'm gonna feel really bad whenever I'm editing it if you guys don't get married or if you die in a plane crash. Like, I'm not saying I hope you die in a plane crash, because I don't. But I'm just saying that it's in the range of possibilities. I'm just saying that there are a variety of things that could happen between now and your wedding, and even after your wedding. You know, hopefully you don't die in a plane crash then. So I've rambled enough. Thanks for watching the video. Don't die in a plane crash. Love you guys. Bye.